Good morning, game changers and soul warriors. It is still barely morning on my end. So, whatever time of day it is for you, then good time of that day. How is everybody today? I hope you're doing wonderful. I was up all night with major tornadoes surrounding us and lots of hail and wind, and it was so loud. And as a single mother, I was like planning our protection escape until it finally went away at like 1:30 in the morning. So I was going to try to really look pretty today, but this is what you get, my natural beauty. But welcome. My name is Juniper Mystique. I am an ascension master, master healer, and divine guide. The reason why those are separated will make sense after I tell you a little bit more about who I am and what I've done. Okay. As most of you are aware, we're in a weird time frame, right? A lot of people think it's the end of the world, the ascension, all this kind of stuff. Well, the ascension master and master healer are separated because I can do healings on people, but that is not the ascension master part in me. Although I do help people ascend, I also ascended the planet. Okay. I did this since 2019 when I had my Kundalini awakening. Today we are going to talk about twin flames. Today is all about twin flames, but I'm going to get to how I got to my twin flame journey. Okay. And then I'm going to give you guys a little insight into my whole entire twin flame journey. Now, this morning I asked Spirit some truths about that, and it was heavy for me, and I cried a little. So I'm going to do my best to give nothing but utmost love in this and to not cry. We'll see how that goes. Well, my journey started with having my awakening. And then once that happened, my whole world shifted. Like, you know how when you feel like your world is just falling apart and nothing you're doing seems to work, and then all of a sudden it's like you're shifted over here and things are just happening you never expected to happen. Well, that kind of happened to me, but in a very big way. Like, we were forced out of our home, and then I was like forced into like moving into this specific apartment complex, and it was crazy. But before I got to the twin flame journey, I was doing things to the planet. Now, this makes sense to me why I was moved to where I was moved, because the apartment complex in which I was moved to, little did I even know that the person that I was working through to even get there was my ex-twin flame's ex-wife. How do I explain that? Where do I start in this journey? First of all, it's a lot, okay? Bringing about the ascension was not easy. It took me 4 years to undo all of the darkness that they created, okay? Adam and Eve are twin flames, and Jesus and Mary Magdalene are twin flames, and they're one and the same, and it kind of explains who we are, okay? Because I cleared Mount Shasta, I sat on Saturn with Hermes, I cleared my own contract, saw myself die there, and then we lassoed Atlantis and rose Atlantis. I started activating pyramids. It's a lot, so I'm just trying to give you the basics. The female pyramids were the first ones I activated, and I didn't know that at first. The first one I activated was Fiji and the God Portal, okay? But I'm going to show you guys real quick for those who don't know. And I'm going to recommend you guys like and subscribe and stick around, okay? Because I can absolutely help you ascend. And if you found me, there's a reason, all right? So before I go any further, make sure you, as people say, smash that like button and subscribe so that you can share this out. We can get people more to see who really is the true person that brought it about, okay? Because there's a lot of false prophets as well. And there's a lot of judgment in the arena, and it's not good, okay? So I'm just going to quickly share with you guys where you can find this information, because everything I give you is recorded and witnessed, and I've done it through workshops. It all happened in a particular manner, and Spirit did it that way. Apparently I designed it that way for a reason, but I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, so this was my YouTube channel. Let me get off that. I do have an ascension playlist, ascension work I have done to the earth, humankind, warning. It is not normal. This is not just me talking about them. Some of them I talk about them. Some of them are guided workshops, guided meditations, and a lot of witnessing that can happen, okay? Here is where I cleared Mount Shasta. I talk about that, and look, 60 views. See, people have a hard time believing this stuff, let alone watching this stuff, but they are very easy to believe people who can manipulate and false prophets and stuff. So just be very careful with that, okay? And this is why it's important to learn to shine our light regardless of what people think. Because if I would have listened to other people and not shined my light, none of it would have gone through. Okay. Cleared Mount Shasta, activated Fiji in the God portal on 2/25/21. So between these two time frames, I also cut off life support to California. I talked about that in my video many times yesterday and another one. Okay, and what that means, I did a video on that. Sun Ascension portal activation. This one it's an awakening healing guided meditation. Eliminating false negative pull from the moon. I eliminated the false concept of time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it was a very long process. Then we did more workshops, a whole bunch of them. More workshops for pyramids. These are pyramid activations. You could do this guided meditation if you want to remove yourself from the matrix, by the way. That's why it's there. But a lot of people haven't done that one yet. I hope more do, because it's very powerful. This was me activating the Sphinx, the Pharaoh, and the God activation portal workshop. I might share that one with Facebook right after this, actually. And then I took us into 7D. That's a 2-part thing because the twin flame journey hit. Okay, so let's just put it this way. After I activated the pyramids, I realized who my twin flame was. Okay, I met him. He was my neighbor. He was only 2 doors down from me. That's where spirit put me. And then after I met my neighbor and I realized he was my twin flame, we kind of started dating. The love was like palpable. He did something to my chest space. Okay, just being near him, my chest kind of popped open. So everything I talk about, you guys can find on my channel. Okay, so I encourage you to please look at it, because there's a lot there, including messages from spirit to my twin flame and everything. I talk about the attack on my twin flame in there. There's a guided meditation to align my twin flame and I and everything, because I didn't see that part coming. I'm going to go back a little bit because there's so many details. If you're new, I have to give specific ones or it's not going to make sense. And a lot of people don't take the time to watch because we're so programmed to be surface and very, very quick. And we got to pick up our phones, you know, we got to do all this kind of stuff. And so it's hard to get people to take the time to seriously watch these things. But I truly hope you do. You can see us activating all kinds of pyramids. Okay. And I'm also going to warn you guys, this video, I do have two twin flames. Okay. I have 2 twin flames. The first DM died, and that is the majority of the focus of what I will talk about today. Because my new twin flame, I really feel like doesn't want me to talk too much to him or about him. I keep getting a song from him that he just wants to be alone. So I will honor that. See, I told you I would try not to cry, but I can't guarantee anything. Some of you might remember that work with me or that watch my channel, is that when I was activating pyramids, one of the times I had found an Atlantis crystal that I had to activate. And I unburied it from the earth and I had to activate it. And this was before I learned who I was and before I learned that I carried the white flame in my heart, and that when Atlantis went down, my light went out and I died. Everybody thinks Adam and Eve stole the apple. That's not exactly accurate. Okay. In the beginning of time, fallen angels came, false goddess came, and my DM was duped. And I had a hard time going against him. It's really hard to do that. And it ended up killing me in Atlantis. Okay. That was Adam and Eve. This lifetime kind of played out the same because he was supposed to undo that karma. He was supposed to do it differently than he did the first time. I did. He did not. He actually did it worse. Okay. This is true. All right. I met him and I learned that he was a druggie. And I still didn't know who I was. I just knew these strange things were happening to me. And I kind of showed him that. And he's like, whoa, what is this? And it was kind of like tripping him out because it was like affecting him in a very big way. And neither of us really realized at that point. But I pulled a card and they said he was my twin flame. And we were kind of catching on to that. But he was rather mean to me. I found out, and I'm going to talk about this because he did die. Okay. He died on August 30th. And that video is also on my channel. Okay, you can watch it. I posted that workshop because it happened in a workshop, and I'm going to tell you why. I met him. He was 2 doors down. He hit on me. He asked me out. I was like, yeah, you know, it was just the cutest thing I'd ever seen. I'd never seen anybody that would just sparked my interest so much, you know, but he was younger than me. I had kids. And I had a dream that somebody was going to come into my life that had a son. And he did end up having a son, but he had no custody of this child. So I never got to meet his son. And unfortunately, his son did not get to ascend, and neither did his ancestors. Okay. But I had met him, and it's a lot to talk about. I know I'm kind of all over the place because it's emotional, and it's hard to keep this as a straight story when people don't know all of the details, right, of what it means to bring about the ascension and what twin flames really are. I almost feel like starting the video all over, but I'm not going to. God made Eve and Adam. They're twin flames. Adam is supposed to protect Eve. They're supposed to love each other. They're supposed to hold the balance of the earth. The Ankh represents that. I talk about that. And unfortunately, it didn't quite get to go down that way. Fallen angels came down and said they could steal God's power, and they did. And the DM fell prey to a false goddess. And I wasn't strong enough to hold against that in that time. And I don't really know all of the details of that time frame because that was a past life, but I do know that I died. And that is when the earth started to change. And so then another lifetime, Jesus and Mary Magdalene were also twin flames. They got ripped apart. And part of what I've done is bring about the apocalypse of John. John killed Jesus. Okay, there's a lot of details here that are very important for you all to know. And they are part of my twin flame journey. It's all a part of my twin flame journey. At first, I thought I messed up on my twin flame journey in this lifetime because when I met my DM, he was very sweet, very cute. And I kept asking, why do you like me? He's like, I don't know. And he would treat me like crap. Like he would really treat me badly, you guys. I know you don't know a lot of this, and I'm not just making that up because he's gone. Okay, I loved him dearly, dearly. And I still would have been with him. Once we combined, I chose to do so regardless. And I left the person I was with, but let me get to that. He was very mean to me, and I was a single mother, and my children were a lot younger. This was about 3 years ago now when I met him, okay? And so Mama Bear stepped in because he was a dope dealer. He was a druggie. He didn't just deal drugs, he did them. And we're talking like coke and things I wouldn't even touch with a 10-foot pole. I grew up around druggies. My father was a heroin addict, things like that, right? Like, I mean, I understand all about it. And it was something that I said I didn't want my kids exposed to, okay? And this was before I was even fully awakened to who I was. I was having my awakening. I was starting to do these things. I had already cleared Mount Shasta. I had already activated a few pyramids and things like that. And then the twin flame thing started to happen. And Spirit told me somebody was going to come into my life. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, do I deserve love? You know? And this guy pops in, and the connection was so strong. I felt my heart pop, like on the inside, the heart chakra like popped open, and it sparked all this healing for both of us, which was heavy, okay, to say the least. On top of that, he was treating me very, very badly. And I couldn't get him to even say he wanted to be with me. He's like, well, it was more like, can I be a druggie and be with you? And I'm like, And Spirit kept telling me to stay in my boundaries. And so I went too far into my boundaries. And I basically, you know, I warned him, if you don't want to be with me, I'm going to be with somebody else. And he kept saying, well, no, you know, but then he wouldn't step up and treat me right. He wasn't really wanting to be with me, is what I saw. So I moved on. And that is where I thought I ruined the whole thing. But I really didn't. Because if he would have told me one iota he wanted to be with me, I wouldn't have done that. Okay. But he didn't. His name was David. And in the Bible, it talks about waking up David. And I had to go against the deep blue sea to do it. And that is true. Okay. This is all very biblical as well, which is kind of, but you got to watch it. You got to listen to what I'm saying. Okay. And the proof is all on my channel. You can even watch Spirit telling my DM it was a fallen angel. Like, all this stuff is on there. Okay. And I didn't understand it all at first. It's part of my awakening. That's the thing. Okay. Now, Spirit kept telling me I needed to help him, but he wouldn't listen to me. Like, I would message him. I would say, oh my gosh, you know, how are you doing? What are you doing? And he wouldn't respond. He would treat me very, very badly. He wouldn't respond. He was not telling me how he felt other than I may be in his way because I didn't do drugs and I didn't want a drug dealer around my kids and things. And so I went my separate way and I found somebody else. His name was Sean. And I was dating this person for about a year. And my DM moved on and found like 12 other girls, not a joke. He went like from one girl to another, and I could see that he was going downhill. Like he wasn't doing well. And I kept asking him, like, why are you not doing well? You did fine when you broke up with his wife, because that's who I met first. He was married and he got a divorce. I'm like, why were you fine when you broke up with her, but not me? And he would just say, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. And I would have these dreams that he needed help and he just wanted love. And I kept trying. I kept trying to insert myself into his energy and talk to him. But he would shut me down every time. So I completely moved on and I started dating somebody named Sean, and he actually wanted to marry me. And so I was literally getting ready to meet his kids. And around that time, I'm going to show you this one. Around that time is where I set his soul free. And so Sean was with me when I did that, and it was supposed to be David. But again, I didn't know all this, and David wasn't listening. Okay. And so that's kind of what happened there. And so I set Jesus' soul free all by myself. And shortly after that time, Spirit kept telling me, you're going to have a choice to make. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm getting ready to get married. I'm happy, I think, you know. And they're like, that's love, but it's not love. So basically, they were telling me that the relationship I was in was love, but it wasn't true love. And I was going to have a choice to make, and I didn't know what that meant. I did not see any, because David was literally living with another female at this time. We didn't know it was a fallen angel yet, but he did end up finding a fallen angel. Okay. And I am all over the place. So there was a point in my journey where I talked about a crystal. I had found the Atlantis crystal, and I thought, because I knew people were going to die in the ascension and what I was bringing about, that is why I tried to sabotage myself. So I shoved this crystal into my solar plexus. Some of you that were working with me might remember that. I shattered my solar plexus. It blew it up. This Atlantic crystal that I was supposed to activate, I shoved it in my solar plexus and blew it up because I was getting ready to activate some of the pyramids. And Spirit said I had to wait 3 days. They had to heal and rebuild my solar plexus. I thought I was doing it to not kill humankind. Little did I know you guys were on your way to death anyways. Not what I did, but because of what's going on. But that's not why I did it. Spirit eventually informed me it was because I was scared of the twin flame union. And I didn't know that at the time. It was subconscious, okay? I was afraid of this twin flame union. And I'm getting chills as I'm saying that. I was terrified. And I'll tell you why. There are different levels of twin flames, and we're the highest here. We're the closest to God, and we're also the leaders of the 144,000. I was terrified of this twin flame union because I knew who my DM was, and I knew what he did to me in my past life, and I knew what I had to try to overcome in this one. And I knew it was going to be very difficult and very painful, and I knew this on a subconscious level, not on a conscious level at that time. Okay. I said I was going to try not to cry, and it's really hard for me to keep all this straight. So I apologize for going back and forth. So Spirit had healed my solar plexus, and then I went on the twin flame journey. And I told you, Spirit kept saying I was going to have a choice to make at this point. This was after we freed Jesus's soul. I did that. And I was starting to realize shortly after that who my DM was really and what the purpose of it was, and that I was kind of supposed to be with him. And then on August 13th of that year, my DM came to me outside the apartment, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time. And for the first time that day, he told me he loved me, and he cried. This was David. And he said he did not want to ascend without me. And I went into shock a little bit. I'm like, and it sparked an awakening in me. Okay. And I don't think he understood that, because I didn't give him the response I think that he wanted right away, because I was with Sean. I was getting ready to meet his kids, his family, and marry him. And my DM came to me and said that. And I was like, boom, it sparked the awakening even more into my twin flame journey. And so after a couple days, I started trying to push Sean away. And then the next thing I knew, I went into this meditation, and it was at 222, and Spirit kept warning me something's coming at 222. So I went into a meditation, and my DM and mine, all of a sudden our souls started going and back together. And then we started and they told me it was going to be life or death. They told me that. How scary is that? But that really happened. It's on my channel. I did guided meditations about that. I think I talked about that, at least it's on there. This one I did on my own, that was happening to both of us. We both all of a sudden went, and all of this Christ light filled us both. And we were 2 doors down from each other when this was happening. And I didn't really know he was consciously aware, because he wouldn't talk to me at all. He treated me very badly. Again, anytime I tried to talk to him, he would slam a door in my face. He would treat me very, very, very badly. And I don't talk about this a lot, but I think it's time that I do, for the purposes of healing and letting it go. Because the way it looks is even my new DM now doesn't want anything to do with me. But I don't know. I don't want to put assumptions out there, because I don't know. So if you want to know why David really died, I'm going to give it to you all today. And I learned something today myself that I didn't really know. So I pushed Sean away. I told him I couldn't be with him. I didn't belong to him. And he got mad. He's like, what do you mean? It's not possession. I love you. And he didn't understand it. He knew what I was doing, but he didn't quite understand it. He was not spiritual. He was religious. But he believed in me because he watched all of this unfold. He knew the pyramid activations were real. He was proving things to me that I didn't even know that I was doing. It was crazy. So Sean believed in me. And he did not want me to let him go. And so from August 13th on, I never slept with Sean. I never did anything with him again. I just wanted to be with David, my twin flame. And I was trying hard to let Sean go, and he was fighting me. And David, as far as I know, never tried to push away the fallen angel or anything, the girl that he was with at that time. And I didn't know she was a fallen angel yet. Spirit told us both that. And this was before the resurrection of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, okay? Because we were supposed to come together and do that together at that time. So the ascension was actually supposed to happen over a year ago. But it got thwarted, it got delayed, and we almost didn't make it, because what happened next? So on my channel, I kind of started awakening into the fact that he was my twin flame. And you can see that on my channel from a year or 2 ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's my soulmate. He's my twin flame. And I was like, ugh. And Spirit would tell us this. And I was like, ugh. And then our souls combined during meditation one day. And I was told it was death or life for me. And I didn't quite understand everything yet, but it was very, very, very powerful. And we both filled with Christ's light. Now, looking back on this story, it's obvious who I was. And I was still oblivious to some things. You know what I mean? I don't know why I always lessen who I am, but I should never do that. And I should never let people make me feel less than either, just because they can't see it. And so that's part of the lesson I want everybody to learn in their own life. This is very emotional for me, what I'm about to tell you next. And I didn't really know what happened to me until this morning, because I wasn't brave enough to ask. There was a part on the journey where they were trying to get David to come home, and he was afraid to, because he lied about something. And Spirit kept telling him, the truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. These were messages I kept posting. The truth shall set you free. So I knew there was something he wasn't telling me. And I'm like, just tell it. And God gave him a warning. If you don't tell her, we will. And so I started clearing out the collective hole in the truth avenue to where lies cannot be in existence anymore, because they're not of God, first of all. And so they started rising, and then we gave him a warning. And this was scary to me. But let me get to that for a second, because before that happened, he was still living next door to me. I know this is back and forth. I hope you guys can keep up. This is not an easy story for me. It was very hard, and it played out on my channel. And that's when people started judging me and stopped listening. And then they missed the return of Christ. And then they judged me when that came too, even though I succeeded in doing it. Sorry. I succeeded in doing it by myself after all of this. Okay. But it took me a while to get there. So this was about a year ago. Oh no, almost 2 years ago now. 2 years ago now when this started happening. Okay. So in truth, we were supposed to ascend a long time ago. It was supposed to be completed a long time ago, but we were thwarted. Not completed, but together and in flow. And the resurrection was supposed to happen 2 years ago. Forgive me. I said I wouldn't cry, but after we combined and I pushed Sean away, I was waiting for him to do what he needed to do. I felt so much love in me. I felt the Christ light. It was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. And I just wanted to make our relationship right. So I did a guided meditation to heal that. I'm gonna see what it was called. I can't remember. I don't remember, but I was like, I know what I need to do. And I did one to heal it, right? I did one to just heal ourselves and what happened by me leaving him, because that hurt him. But I didn't know that. I didn't even know he wanted to be with me, because he wouldn't even tell me, and he just treated me like shit. So it's a lot. The next thing I knew, I was in bed one night and he was still 2 doors down, and I had pushed Sean out of my life, and Sean kept trying to come back. It was very hard for him. And I don't think David liked that, because he would assume, I don't know what he was assuming, but he wouldn't talk to me. He would just see Sean come around, and I would actually tell Sean, you got to go away. And so I think my DM assumed some things there. This is the original twin flame. I have 2. I'm not talking about the new one. The first one was very painful, and he hurt me so very bad. He hurt the ascension, he hurt the collective whole, and he had blood on his hands. And he did try to kill me. Okay, he had a secret, and I didn't know exactly the full extent of it till today, but I knew he knew. So I thought he was unconscious. I thought he couldn't see what he was doing, because he was always on drugs and stuff, and his vibration was low. And so I thought he wasn't seeing clearly. And so one night I was sleeping, and I didn't see this coming. I woke up in extreme pain. I can't even describe this pain. It felt like my soul was being sucked out of me. And I was wailing. I was wailing so loud. My kids woke up. I couldn't stop myself. I was like, wow, like I was wailing. I was crying and I was wailing. And I think I even came on my channel, but I erased it. I was like, help me. I don't know what's happening. And people just judged. I couldn't get help. I couldn't get anybody to understand it. And I lost subscribers. And so I deleted that video. Some of you probably remember, if you still watch, right? I know some people followed my whole entire journey. Amy's one of them. She actually helped save my life through the twin flame journey. Jacinth as well helped me through that, witnessed it all. So there are people who are aware and watched the whole entire thing. And so I wasn't technically completely alone. It's because of them I made it through as well, because they helped me when I needed it the most at that time frame. And I'm very thankful for them. But I was wailing one night and I didn't know what was happening to me. I had no idea, and spirit wasn't telling me. Okay, hang on. Forgive me, guys. I hate crying on TV, but this is real and this is what happened, so I'm not going to change it. And I know it's a little all over the place. Please take the time to follow, because it's the best I can do right now, but I feel like it's healing me. Okay, so I'm going to do it. There's a lot people don't know. I was wailing and I couldn't stop. My neighbors woke up. It was that loud. Okay, I had my neighbors to this side of me. David was 2 doors down this way. He never once came out of his door, by the way. Okay. The love of your life starts wailing. What are you going to do? Are you going to care? He did not. But I didn't know it was happening to me yet until today. And I'm going to tell you. And it was a lot for me to digest. And after I channeled it, I cried and cried. I was wailing and wailing and wailing so bad. Like my neighbors came to me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, it hurt. It literally felt like my soul was being sucked out of my life. It was. My kids woke up. Everybody was scared. I was wailing in pain and I had no idea what was happening. None. I have an itch on my back. You like my little back itcher? No idea what was happening. And I used to be very skinny and beautiful, and like this whole story is graphic, so just bear with me. Okay, this is the first time it really almost killed me. This was the first time I've almost died on this journey. I didn't know at the time was happening. I had to leave the apartment. Something told me leave the apartment. This was at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and my kids, I just told them go back to bed. They're like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." And my neighbors are like, "What the hell is happening to this lady?" I was wailing so loud. I woke up like half the complex. It's not a joke. Thank God nobody put me in a psych ward. Seriously. And I left. I got in my little Lincoln and I just drove away, and I was like crying, and I'm like, he's making me hate him. I remember saying that. And then I was like, no, I didn't just say that I love him. I love him because the love for me was real. It was palpable. Like it was a love I've never experienced this feelings before. But once I drove away, it's kind of stopped happening so intensely. And I was able to calm down and breathe and eventually go back to my apartment. I didn't drive far. I just drove around the neighborhood. I just had something told me get out of there. So I did. And I went back home. Then spirits keep trying to tell him, you've got to come back. This is a fallen angel. They weren't exactly telling me what was happening with that yet. But I did hear them say that he's making it worse and worse. He kept telling it like his clan. He had a cousin there and everybody, that I was just crazy because I was trying to tell them if he leaves, he's going to anchor in and we're all in trouble. That's all I kept saying. Spirit kept telling me that. If you stay with her, we're in trouble. That's what I kept saying. And I didn't want to like push that. It sounded crazy. It did. But David knew. His secret at first that I found out was that he was aware. That was his first download secret that I got because he refused to tell me the secret. So I got a download of it later on. But after the night that I was wailing, a couple of days later, I don't know how long later it was, all of a sudden, a moving truck pulled up and he packed his house with the fallen angel and took off. And Spirit literally said they didn't see that coming. I remember them saying that specifically. We didn't see that coming. Now I'm bringing about the ascension. Okay. So you can imagine this attack was pretty big. The night I wailed and wailed and wailed and they took off, I got a massive blood clot in my leg. That was the very first one I've ever had in my life. I remember Pamela, she was following me at the time, but then went into judgment and stopped caring, stopped doing her marks and things, and it sucked because she was supposed to be part of the people who had purposes on the ascension. When he took off and the angels said, we didn't see that coming, I literally, it was the worst feeling in my life. Like as he was packing, my dog got like loose and tried to stop him. She tried to jump in his moving truck. She tried to jump in his window. She was yelling at his dog. She was yelling at him. Like my dog went insane. And I did a video of appreciation for my dog too at the time. I don't know if some of you might remember that too, but I was like, my dog's amazing. So that was the first healing sessions that I did on my channel for animals because of her. She tried to stop him and then he took off, and she literally laid on top of me all that night because the pain was sensational. And it was very, very painful. And I remember Spirit telling me, you can survive anything. It's a necessity you listen, basically follow what we say. And so I was like, okay, I surrendered completely because it was either I died or I listened to Spirit. That was literally my choices. You die or you listen. And so I listened completely. I couldn't do anything in my life. So I once, used to smoke pot. That was the only thing I ever did. They're like, don't do that. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I had to completely focus on spirit. I couldn't work anymore. I wasn't allowed to work outside of my heart centered. So this whole time I've been struggling for money because people just judge my journey. I'm not like those paid creators where people listen and throw money at you and actually, like, you know what I mean, care to hear what you have to say. Most of the time people would judge and just go away. And I was being attacked. I was being attacked very badly. And I didn't know what he did that night yet at this point. I didn't know what I was wailing from that night yet. I thought he just slept with her. That wasn't it. I thought that's what it was. Because I never slept with anybody again. Ever. I've pretty much been alone for 3 years now. It's a very painful journey. And this is partly why he died. I didn't kill him, God did. He had a choice and he kept hurting everybody, and God said enough. And I watched him die and God rip out his soul. But before all that happened, like I said, he took off. The moment he took off, my dog tried to comfort me. That was the only thing that I had to comfort me, which was amazing to me. How would she know? How would she know? But she knew. Dogs are so smart. Animals are so smart. Sorry, let me catch myself. Maybe my new DM will get a little bit why it hurt me so bad if he doesn't know all of this when he didn't show up. When he separated, they told me the separation alone could kill me. We were not supposed to have that happen. We combined energetically, our chakras all combined, our souls combined, everything. It's weird, but it's more powerful than anybody ever could understand. It's a different kind of union. I know there's lots of twin flames out there, but they get little glimpses of what we have. Okay, so the union was quite powerful. It was so powerful. I could feel him. I could feel everything about him. We can hear each other's thoughts, but way more than any other twin flame. It's not a joke. Okay. So when he took off, Spirit let me know if I didn't listen, I was going to die. And why would Spirit tell you that? Because they didn't want me to die. And I didn't want to die. I'm a mommy too, And we still had work to do. This was the ascension. And so we're there like, oh God. And so it went into protective war mode. And I didn't understand the brevity of what was happening yet at all. But by him taking off, I got really ill again. Okay. And it started a long journey of me trying to understand and just follow everything Spirit said without deviation, no hesitation. And that's what I did. And I thought at that time that he was not consciously aware of the pain that he was causing me because he was on drugs. So I thought he was not fully aware of what he was doing, because why would he do that? The love was real that I felt. Why would he combine with me and then take off? Why would he want to hurt me? And I thought he slept with her. He did that, but he did more than that. And I'll tell you that in a minute, because I just learned today the full concept of why I was wailing that night. And everybody heard it. He's the only one that didn't come out to check on me. He lived 2 doors down. I thought he was not consciously aware. I was wrong. Turns out, so when he took off, we ended up battling. The whole ascension became thwarted for a whole year. And it spent me a year being attacked by 3 fallen angels. And Spirit would constantly tell him, we can't go where you're at. You need to come out of there. They would not even go where he was at, because they couldn't go into the fallen angel den, basically. That's literally what happened. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you some more on my channel, just so you know where to look, okay? What does it mean for my DM to no longer be? New twin flame is crowned. Proof of what I recently had to do with my twin flame. Missed the mark. Crazy proof of my meditations. Battle of life for my other half. My soulmate, me. I choose love. I choose life. Do you see what I'm saying? Look, 37 people only watched this, and it makes me feel less than all the time, because all people did was judge me and left and stopped watching, and then they all missed the return of Christ. Because I didn't die. In that year, I grew stronger somehow. And I kept going. And I kept doing what Spirit asked me to do. And they were surprised, but I kept taking it further. Then I started healing myself even more. Malachi started teaching me, okay, these are what twin flames do. This is what you need to do. So I just stopped thinking about David, and I started thinking about, okay, I'm going to take all my masks off. I'm going to heal myself, get to the bottom of why I do what I do and become the best version of myself. I came into complete balance. I was doing everything I was supposed to do, which caused him to awaken all the way. Then I started to feel things from him, like love and things at times, but it was very bully-ish, let me tell you. He would just do what he wanted when he wanted, and it didn't care how he made me feel. And then at one point, Spirit kept calling him back home, and they kept telling him, the truth shall set you free. And I realized he had things he was afraid to tell me. He had truths he was afraid to tell me. And in this meantime, I was bringing down Christ's light. I was doing everything by myself. This is why I got to take us into 7D. Because I just kept healing the planet. I kept removing souls. I kept activating pyramid. I kept doing everything on my own, even while being attacked by fallen angels. I kept listening to Spirit. I was making it. They called me mahogany. And if you look up mahogany, it means you can take a lightning strike and keep on ticking. You survived what you shouldn't have survived. And they've said that several times to me. I should have died. But I wasn't about to give up. I was a mommy. And I was all they had. They don't have a dad that cares about them. He was abusive to me too. So my twin flame, my soulmate, wouldn't tell me his truth. Spirit kept telling him, the truth shall set you free. Urgent message from my DM. I'm not your enemy. I'm your best friend. I would feel that in my energy, Twin flame epiphany. These were when I was learning, oh, look what I got to do. Malachi. Okay, twin flame message 1 year ago. It's more than a year ago, I do believe. Look at it correctly, though. Malachi, truth shall set you free. Time for union. Beautiful, unexpected message. So this is what they kept putting out on my channel for him to see. The truth shall set you free. And I was like, yeah, what truth? No matter what, I love you. I was kind of oblivious to some things. I thought he didn't know what he did to me. I was wrong. I started getting downloads of his truth, which was not a pleasant feeling. He would not come forward. He wasn't coming home. He wasn't leaving the fallen angels. And Spirit and what he was essentially doing was blocking the ascension. He was allowing the fallen angels to stop the ascension. This is what he did in the time of Adam and Eve. Unfortunately, that lifetime, it was because of him that we died. And the same thing was happening to me in this lifetime. In that lifetime, he gave a fallen angel my light. His truth, his unequivocal truth. I just thought that his truth was he was aware. That was the download that I got, was he was aware of what he did. And I forgave him. I said, I forgive you. I didn't quite oust his truth, but he was quite aware of what he did. That was the download that I got, that he was awake. He knew what he did. And so he was aware that we combined. He was aware of all this stuff. And then he was aware, and he made the conscious choice to take off. He made the conscious choice to sleep with her. That's what I thought he did. I asked this morning to Spirit for what he really did. And they made sure I was ready to hear it, basically. Essentially, what he did that night that I was wailing is he tried to give her my soul. They showed me a visual of him doing like this thing where he was trying to take the soul out of my body and put it into her. and she was a fallen angel, and I've never done anything to hurt him. Ever. I'm sorry. Sorry. I tried not to have an effect, but I think this is healing for me, and people need to see the truth of what happened and why I took us in the 7D and why we almost didn't make the ascension. Keep in mind, this was before I was able to resurrect Christ. So he and I were supposed to come together and then bring Jesus and Mary Magdalene together, because it was 2 lifetimes of separation. So essentially, I tried to give my soul to a fallen angel. And part of what I was undoing was the false goddess this lifetime. I had to undo the false goddess. And in the end, he saw the truth. In the end, he saw the truth. I got him awake enough because I just kept going and I kept healing myself, and we kept going and I kept healing myself. And he finally saw the truth. And so at one point, one of the first parts of the resurrection of Christ that I did, the return of Christ, I'm going to show you which one that was, okay? It's right here. The return of Christ, the return of the gods, watch all. This has David in it. This is when God filled him with Christ's light. He tried to come home to me on my birthday and they almost killed him. So he did wake up fully and he did try to come home and they did try to kill him. And God gave him all of his Christ light and said, we are with you. We can help you. The moment you leave there, we will heal you. Now, I've had more healings than he did. So he was very much in pain. It was a very painful experience to be connected to him because it was killing me. The separation of my DM alone is killing me. That's what I wish my new DM would understand, is that the separation alone to this day is killing me. Not only that, it was attack of fallen angels, 3 of them, the whole entire time. So during the time he was gone, as I was growing in love and he was waking up enough, he decided he would push away and come towards me. We both got attacked. Amy was an Alchemy Academy client of mine at the time, and she was just learning how to do healings, and she ended up having to heal me, and they blew up my solar plexus. There was like all of these like nasty tar and shit. Like it was a horrible attack. I woke up in a lot of pain and I almost died, and that was the second time I almost died. Okay, so the first time he was trying to rip the soul out of my body and put it in a DM. The second time is when he tried to come home and the fallen angels attacked both of us so bad that I had to get that healing or I wasn't going to make it. Okay, it really did knock everything out of me. That was shortly after this one. Okay, this is the true story of my twin flame, the unequivocal true story of my twin flame. So then after that, God was waiting. God gave him all his light back and they said, he's trying to come home. And I'm like, great, he's trying to come home. And then he didn't move. He still didn't move. And that is when God said, I want to show you again. Oh, no, you're still sharing. So this was the next one. It's like, what does it mean for my DM to no longer be and a walk-in to replace him? Not what I want. So God had said that if he doesn't come home, okay, so literally it was twin flames will unite by me. God finally had enough. I said I would do it by myself. God gave DM a day or 2 or he won't be here because he keeps killing me and making me sick. Sometimes I still wish I could go back and say better things and maybe he would have loved me. And so I was waiting every day from that moment. God gave him a time frame. It was like a week, I think, is what he had. God gave him a time frame. And it plays out on my channel. I didn't control all of this. It was happening to me. And people were just judging me. And they still do to this day. It was a nightmare, I'm telling you. It's not fun. And here I'm thinking it's just because he was being attacked, but they said no, he had a black hole in his heart. So essentially what he did to me in Adam and Eve days, he was doing to me now. And I don't want to tarnish Jesus's name or anything. But this is why my God, this is why God picked a new DM. Okay, God had a plan and they told me that. Amy and all of them that watch this can validate that. We didn't know what was coming, but God was like, we've got a plan, just keep going. And we're like, okay. I was like, okay, there's a plan. So we kept going. Like you can watch all of this play out, okay? DM Spirit had something to say to you, okay? To see if you still care to hear it. And so this was the warning. This one right was the one telling him he had a time frame. Okay, and then it was Twin Flames Will Unite by Me. That was a workshop we did, and they said this. God gave me a day or two, and he won't be here. It turned out to be more like a week. I actually got a song where he was like preparing to die, and I didn't realize that at the time. I thought maybe he would come home. So every day I was like, is he coming? Is he coming? I really thought he would choose me, not death. Nope. And then this day I was like, we'll be okay. Like, I love you. Please come home still. And then the workshop came. This was the workshop on 8/30 of 22. Remember, August 13th was the day he told me he loved me of 21. August 13th of 21 was the day he told me he loved me. And then shortly after that, our souls combined. And then shortly after that, he took off. And he didn't die until August 30th of 22. So it was a full year of me being attacked by fallen angels and fighting for my soul and fighting for the ascension, the collective whole. And it hurt so bad. I can't even describe to you guys the pain that I took on. In that time frame, they tore up my arm, and he was aware of that too, they're saying. He was aware of the attack on my arm. It was a horrible attack. It broke in a crazy way. It shouldn't have broke. This completely broke. My whole arm shoved into my hand. My fingers were stuck like that, and this bone splintered and popped out of my arm. Not like gruesomely, but just enough. I have a little scar right there. Like that, all of that happened in that time frame that he was gone with the fallen angel, and it all played out on my channel. Okay, urgent message. This one is where they tell him that they will not protect him anymore if he does this again. They literally told him he should have already died. They told him to wake up and see that, this is not okay, and that they will not protect him again if he does this. This was them again trying to say, hey, you've got a purpose, come home. Urgent twin flame message from God, must move now, or tower moments is coming your way. Like it just kept coming and coming. And then on the day that it happened, I came on and I said I had to do it on my own. He won't even be able to watch this video. Okay. So he chose to die. And that was his choice. God gave him the choice to the very end. Okay. And you can see my new DM get his soul. Now I know my new DM got downloads of David's story and who I am, but I don't know all of the details of him at all. I'm starting to learn. God told me that day that he looked just like him, that he was younger than me. And so I got a few details, and that my heart would know it when he came near me. Well, to this day, now I don't feel him anymore at all. Now he's not sending me any love at all, the new DM. The new DM was called forward right before Christmas of this last year. Not only did I have to process my old twin flame's death and deal with all of that, when that happened, I took on his blue light and I swelled up really bad. Okay, they said it was going to hurt me, and it did. And it was a sacrifice I was willing to make because I didn't want to be attacked anymore, and I wanted to complete the ascension. And so I let it happen. I agreed. And they took his soul. And they put it so the way it happened, you can watch the video, it's right here. It plays out in a workshop, just like everything else I do. I felt his heart start to stop. That whole day, he kept giving me lots of love, and my heart was more I've ever felt from him before. He would just usually invade my space and do things to my chakras and think that was good. But it wasn't enough. And then that day I kept feeling all this love and I was very sad. I went into the workshop angry. Like I didn't want to be there. I kept saying that. Like, I don't want to do this. He was supposed to come home. I blamed myself completely. I blamed myself. Because if I was good enough, maybe he wouldn't have wanted to kill me. Maybe he would have wanted to come home. But it's deeper than that. He had a black hole in his heart, and he's had it since Adam and Eve. And he did it again in this lifetime, but even worse this time, they're saying. I was literally trying to rip my soul out and put it into a fallen angel. And I didn't know that till today. I don't hate him, but I definitely am glad that it's over. I'm glad that God had a new one to pick. And then the new one was called forward before this last Christmas, and I didn't know what was happening. And on Christmas Day, which is this video right here, live on my channel, I resurrected Jesus and Mary Magdalene by myself. And what hurt me the most that day is I had to light David's candle. So I was called to make a new candle for my new DM, and he didn't show up. And then everybody blamed, well, not everybody, but people went into judgment and blamed me that he didn't show up, said they didn't want to work with me anymore because it was basically my fault. I'm not following my guides and things. And this is all part of that darkness, you know? It was just what it was. But you can't bring judgment here. And that broke me because that was not the case at all. Even after David died, I just kept going. I didn't even barely stop to just grieve or hate life. None of that. I just kept going, and I kept trying to get to know this new feelings of this new person. And I was working the crisis line. For the first time, I was able to work my job that I spent years going to school for since David took off. And I was thinking, great, that's great. And Spirit told David several times over that I'm vulnerable to attacks. I'm not safe without him with me, and that the separation alone was killing me. And so I thought the new DM would understand that. I thought the new DM would understand that I'm still not safe. That's why I finally got to move. And that the separation is killing me. It is. I got my next blood clot, so I've almost died 3 times now. My DM didn't show up on Christmas. How do I not take that personally? That's my thing. And I was in balance. I was doing everything I was supposed to do, but Spirit thinks it was because I was working the crisis line, which is not fully my heart centered for 7D, 5D, or whatever. It's 3rd D. And so they told me, and I got attacked also. I got attacked from some person on the crisis line, and I didn't know why it was happening. And I had somebody else who was spiritual tell me, well, you shouldn't be getting attacked so much, not realizing that, of course, I am getting attacked because I'm uniting Jesus and Mary Magdalene and about to clear the Holy Grail. So yeah, there was a lot of attempt to stop that from happening. And so I know Spirit a lot of times wants me to blame fallen angels and not David and not myself, and definitely not my new DM, which I don't really blame my new DM. I don't know why he didn't show up though. It really put me in a bad place, having him not show up and then people judge me. And I resurrected Christ. That should be something we should be celebrating. It should be something we should be celebrating because I did it on my own and it hurt. But I cleared the Holy Grail, which was not holy. I don't even like calling it that. It was a contract written in Jesus's blood. They lie to you. They lie to you a lot. And you can watch these play out on my channel. Please do, because barely anybody does. And I feel like that's my fault, because I focus more on the pain and being attacked and just trying to survive than a flow or popularity or wanting people to watch this unfold. So a lot of people got to miss the ascension and what it was because of that. And I shouldn't blame myself, and I shouldn't blame David. It's darkness. But after that, and I got attacked again, Christmas, and I got blamed by people who I cared about, and it hurt really badly. I started going downhill, and then I got attacked again, because without the DM here, I'm very vulnerable. Now I got attacked by somebody who was in my alchemy academy at that time, and I couldn't quite see it. I couldn't quite see clearly, and I just kept going downhill, and then started going, well, I just want to die. And then God called him forward again and again and again, my new DM, and nothing, but my vibration was too low. I really didn't count on him coming. I couldn't get it up. I kept praying to God to help me. I need help. I'm not strong enough anymore after all this. I'm just not strong enough anymore. And in my mind, they gave it to somebody else who wants to kill me too. And now I'm getting songs that he just wants to be alone. And so I didn't mean to go negative. I didn't mean to be hurtful. I am truly full of love, but I've never gotten that back, ever. And now my DM, my new one, doesn't even fill my heart with love anymore. I barely feel him at all. And that really breaks my heart. And I wish he would understand that the separation is what's killing me, and we can't be in our full power until we come together. But then we got called forward to do the next guided meditations for activating masculine pyramids, because the first ones I activated were feminine. So then we started a 4-part excursion to go along the equator line. I talk about that, and activated the masculine pyramids in Ecuador. We went to Colombia. We went to Congo, Kilimanjaro, and in them I talked about the volcanoes going off in Hawaii and Krakatoa, which they did, and it's all proven for you guys. Like, spirit shows you guys, and look, people barely watch. So this one, you can watch me activate Ecuador. Now my DM did come in energetic form, but I feel like, how do I believe it's even real at this point? Because you start to think you're crazy when they don't physically show up, and then you blame yourself. This is my truth. This is my full twin flame journey, and what it took for me to resurrect Christ, and why I feel like I get more sad than anything. And instead of the world seeing it and getting to celebrate who we are and the return of Christ being completed, nobody will watch, and I'm judged, and my DM doesn't come and show me love, doesn't love me. And that's how I feel. So this one was Ecuador. This one was Colombia, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro, and we demolished the White House. We did all kinds of stuff. And they told me in this one that I was Sekhmet in another lifetime. And my DM was doing some very sweet things. He was filling my heart with some love, and he's tried. And I feel like it's just a lot of pain there. And there's always an attempt to keep us separate. And now I feel like I'm going into the same nightmare, but the fallen angels are not there. That's the only difference. But the separation is still killing me. And I'm like, how do I fix it? And I just keep trying to be better. I keep trying to raise my vibration and do what I gotta do. And that is where we are at on the ascension journey. And they have to come together. We're under a contract. The contract was filled with love, but I've never got to experience that at all. It's supposed to be marriage and the most passion you've ever felt, the most love you've ever felt in there. They gave David downloads of what our future would be together. They may have done that with my new DM, and they still, how would that make you feel? And then on top of that, people don't watch your videos. They started judging me. They started judging the journey because more people were watching. And then all of a sudden, when the twin flame thing happened, Granted, some people can't seem to watch these pyramid ones, and I'm not sure why. Maybe they're not awake enough yet and they can't just fathom it. This is when I activated the Sphinx and this Pharaoh of God activation portal. I created the Sphinx. I found that out later. Only 33 views for that one. Breaks my heart. This was the first part of me taking us into 7D. This was the second part, and Spirit keeps showing that what I'm doing is real. They prove it to us all the time, to me too. It's like very validating, but nobody watches, and the DM still won't align. And so every day I try to tell myself, come on, Bree, you may have used to been beautiful, but you gotta pull it together. You gotta be strong. You gotta keep it going. And I try to love myself, because twin flames don't work where if I focus on him, he's going to come anyways. Twin flame journeys are not third dimensional. So I tried not to cry. I tried to give you guys all of what happened to me. The proof is right here. I tried to show my new DM constantly that I'm sorry and that I love him, because I really do. Not feeling his love in my heart is devastating to me this last week or two. I try to let it go, but how do you do that when the separation alone is killing you? And I don't know how to make my new DM see clearly or even want to be with me. But my first one tried to give my soul to a DM. And that is why he chose to die. Because he couldn't own up to what he did. And that is why God chose my new DM, because he has a pure heart. And they kept telling me, God kept telling me, don't worry, he's not afraid to show his heart. He will show up. And he didn't. And I would give anything for him to. I think we're out of balance in that. And Spirit is saying we are. We're still out of balance in that. But there's not much I can do. Except keep doing what I do. Keep trying not to be attacked. Keep trying to keep my vibration high. I keep doing my work. I can't work again outside of this anymore because it has to be heart-centered. So financially, I get scared. And I keep trying to stay in balance because Spirit's like, don't worry, people are going to see who you are eventually. Sometimes I'm like, do I really want them to? Will they really care or take the time to pay attention to this beautiful journey because of what happened to it? It sucks. But we made it. Not only did we make it, it took us into 7D. Christ has returned. I united Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and we undid the Holy Grail. And I see how the White House is going to go bye-bye. I undid all of that. And my DM still has work to do. We've got to go back to Mount Shasta together and do something there because it needs blue light. And that's a volcano. We've got it, and I don't know what that means, right? We never know what's going to happen. So don't ever freak out. But he's got to do work still. Now, he did get to create a new timeline, and I never meant to hurt my new DM. And I'm hoping by giving my whole story, he will understand maybe why it's so hard for me. And maybe he can love me again. 1222 2222 was our number. So much love to all of you. I'm sorry I cried, but this is real. This was the twin flame journey of Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Adam and Eve. So much love. That's what I want to do, is spread love. I want to put love into my DM, my new DM. This is why I would choose him in a heartbeat, my new one. I would never go back to my other DM. I want the new one. I'm thankful I have a new one, and his love means the world to me. And I'm so thankful he's been energetically coming in. It was just a lot of pain that I've had to try to heal. But by him not stepping forward, it still makes me feel less than. And the separation is still kind of killing me. And he and I are not in our full power until we come together. And I'm still damn powerful. So is he now. So I can't do any more ascension work without him, because this last time I got another blood clot and it broke free and went to my head. and spirit had to remove it, and it was very painful. And to this day, I'm still not right. And so until my DM comes forward, I'm kind of limited with what else we do on the ascension. I just won't allow myself to kill myself at this point because I'm still a mommy. So that is where we're at. That is the ascension. We almost lost, but we didn't. I still won. And that's why spirit calls me mahogany, because what should have killed me didn't. And God even told me at one point that he didn't think I was going to make it. He said, we knew you were strong enough, but they prepared for us not to make it. And we did. This is why they're in Celebrate, except for the people that watch my channel. I mean, where is the celebration for the return of Christ? And where is my DM? How do I fix it? That's what I'm trying to figure out every day. I'm like, how do I fix it? Must be something I did. Let's just find the love. So much love to all of you. Thank you for watching, because most people don't even make it to the end or watch more than 3 seconds in or 3 minutes in. So if you did, just know that I appreciate you more than anything. I thank you for sticking around and being a part of my journey. And if you're new here, please watch all of that. So much love.